So the first step in your configuration should be about configuring pools. After doing the uplink section and the discovery section, of course. So let's talk about pools. There are a number of pools that we need to care about. So first of all, let's configure our MAC addresses. The MAC addresses that we're going to hand out to all the VNICs. This is found under the MAC pool. So we'll give the pool a name. We say these are MAC addresses for Fabric Interconnect A. So what I usually like to do is use the letter A in the MAC addresses so that I exactly see where, if I'm troubleshooting my network, so that I can see where this traffic came from. Did it came from Fabric Interconnect A or did it came from Fabric Interconnect B? Now the only reason why this would not fit is in case I have failover VNICs. When I'm failing over them from one path to the other path, I'm still using the same MAC address. So that means that I will always use the same either Fabric A or Fabric B MAC address independent on where my failover VNIC is going to be placed. But that's just a minor thing. So how much MAC addresses do I want to give? Well, let's do 16. That should be enough for our demo. Let's create another one for B, MAC B, add MAC addresses, also 16 addresses. This list should be given to you in the lab. If they want you to configure pools, they will probably just specify you with a table of different MAC addresses. So that's that. That's about our MAC addresses. Let's move on with our STAN stuff. So with the worldwide port names and the worldwide node names. Also, of course, port names are considered per fabric, and the node name, I just give one node name to each server. So this is worldwide port name A for Fabric A. And also here I'm going to mention the letter AA and also 16 of them. Finish. We do B. Mention the letter B in them. Do 16 of them. And finish. Next, worldwide node name pools. There's no Fabric specific node name pool because only every server will have one node name and not multiple. And we finish that as well. If we're doing iSCSI boot, we need two additional pools here. Because what is iSCSI using again? An identification number, the IQN, and an address, a logical address, so an IP address. So that is the IQN pool here. That is my symbolic node name. And in the LAN stuff, I can configure an iSCSI initiator pool. So let's just create a block of dummy addresses. It's going to take me too much time to configure the full iSCSI boot thing, but let's just create a block of dummy addresses here. 10 to show you iSCSI boot. I don't have a default gateway, I'm just going to hand out addresses. Same as for symbolic node names. As soon as I configure an IQN pool, you need to pay close attention to how I define the IQN here. First, I'm going to give it a name. So IQN anything. Then I need to specify a prefix. So I'm just going to call this IQN.2013 December 13. So this is going to be the prefix of my IQNs. I'm going to click next. Add some suffix. So the suffix is UCS blade from 0 to 16. Finish. Now we need to check exactly what is our IQN. Now instead of using dots, the UCS is using colons. So my full IQN in this case will be IQN.2013 December 13, because that's what I manually specified, right? That suffix or that prefix. Then the suffix is going to be added to it with a colon, then saying UCS blade, and then colon with a following number. So it starts at 0 and ends up at 15, because that's where the range that I specified here. So this is the full IQN that I then need to specify on my MDS switch when it logs in. So in my iSCSI initiator configuration on the MDS, that's where I specify this particular IQN. So this IQN, exactly that one. So what you need to understand is that between the prefix and the suffix, there is a colon instead of a dot. So that is very important. So I configured my iSCSI initiator pools, IQN pools, worldwide name pools, and MAC pools. Now the management IP pool is something that I already pre-configured, right? So now I'm done configuring pools. Or actually, I miss one. My server is going to use a UUID, right? So every motherboard has a UUID number. So that's something that I need to create a pool for as well. UUID. Create a block of addresses. Usually I don't change anything about this. 16 of them, and finish. And it's going to automatically generate some machine prefix based on the hardware that I have. So that's it. There is one more pool, and that is a server pool. So a server pool, what I do is I can combine certain hardware blades, so not service profiles, but just actual hardware pieces, combine them together into a pool. What I can do then, when I have a service profile template, is I can say, instead of just applying it directly to a server, I can say apply it to a pool of servers and automatically generate a number of service profiles according to the amount of servers in the pool. So that service profile template can be connected to a server pool, and then I'm going to automatically assign servers as soon as I create a service profile. Otherwise, when I create a service profile, I need to manually assign a server or a server pool. So manually assign a server or assign a pool, then it will take a server out of the pool and assign it to it. This server pool creation can be static or dynamic. So I can have just a static assignment saying chassis number 1, slot 1 is the one that's going to be inside the server pool. So just a static assignment, drag and drop servers into a pool. Or, much more interesting of course, I can do this dynamically. I can dynamically say a server with a minimum amount of memory, 24 gigabytes of memory, and a Palo card should become a member of this particular server pool. So I can specify what they call qualifiers. So I can specify a qualification for a server based on the amount of memory, the amount of local disks, the amount of CPU performance, or the network adapter in my server. Based on those qualifications, I can put them into a certain server pool. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to create a server pool. And that server pool, I'm going to call this 24 gigabytes and Palo. Now here I can just drag and drop servers into the pool, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to leave it empty. No servers in the pool right now. Then I'm going to specify a qualification. So this is the 24 gigabytes and Palo qualifier. What do I want to qualify? I want to qualify based on memory. The minimum amount of memory should be 20,000 megabytes. or a maximum or some kind of clock speed or anything. I can be very granular with this. And I specify I want to have a virtualized Ethernet interface card. That means Palo card, right? If non-virtualized, I mean the Menlo card, but virtualized means I want to create multiple VNICs. So that's what I'm going to add. We just need to reconnect a few seconds. All right, there we are. So add that memory qualification and add the Palo card requirement here. Click OK. Now I want to combine this together, of course. Now I want to say servers that match to this qualification should be placed into that newly created server pool called 24 gigabyte Palo. That's what I do in a server pool policy. We create one. So this is the 24 gigabyte Palo policy. 1240, what qualification do I use? There is not really a specific number here, although what I can do here is I can aggregate uplinks. That is a unique thing about the VIC 1240. Or I can specify a number of adapters that it has to have. That's actually not going to do it, but link aggregation is something that is unique for the VIC 1240. So the VIC 1240 can do port channels towards its fabric extender, so that is something that a VIC 1240 should match to. Although at some point I cannot specify exactly what I want. So I cannot specify exactly the VIC 1240 in combination with the VIC 1280. So that exact combination cannot be made, I think. So going back to our 24 gigabyte Palo policy, we say servers that match to this just created policy should be put into the pool 24 gigabyte Palo. Click OK. And what we will see now is that inside server pool Palo 24 gigabyte, 4 servers in them. Because all these 4 servers match the qualification. And you can see that the servers are dynamically added to the pool by that server pool policy. So it says here it added it to the pool based on pooling policy. So that is server pools.